Guest today, David Adam from MidAmerica Orthopaedics, a medical group practice with locations in the south suburbs of Chicago. I've gotten to work with David for the past couple of years and actually gotten to hang with David outside of work a few times. We've had some nice dinners and gone golfing a couple times. And he describes himself as like a littler guy, but like he's a beast. He is a beast on the golf course. And so I'm excited to just kind of dive in and hear a little bit of your story, just personal story, how you ended up at MidAm and what you're doing and what your vision is, and all the above. So can you just give us a little intro on yourself and how you ended up where you're at with MidAmerica Orthopaedics?
Yeah. So again, my name is David Adam. I do work with MidAmerica Orthopaedics. So my career actually started in the car business. After I graduated from the University of Washington, I got into the car business and I worked in that business for about 17 years and ended up running a dealership. However, I ended that career and actually opened up my own business. I opened up a home improvement business called Guardian Windows, and I ran that business from 2001 to late 2007. As the market was crashing, if we all recall, in 2007, 2008, I just seized the opportunity. One of my competitors had made me an offer to purchase my business, and I did. So from 2008 to 2013, I didn't work. I really didn't have to. However, money doesn't last forever. So I ended up interviewing with MidAmerica Orthopaedics. And honestly, I was a little bit confused as to why they would want to interview me to be part of their marketing and practice development team. But they took a chance, and obviously I took a chance. I was able to learn their business very, very quickly, and it's been quite a ride. I learned a lot about the medical industry specific to orthopedics, and Jules, what's amazing is when you take somebody from the outside that doesn't come from this industry and you put just a different set of eyes on it,
right?
How easy it is to identify different services, what we commonly call ancillary services, to generate new patient acquisition and revenue for the practice, which I have been able to do. So I've been with them since 2013. So I've been with them for almost 8 years. And it's been quite a ride. It's been fun watching their practice grow. I think we've grown since 2013 upwards of about 800%.
Wow.
So it's been a fun ordeal, to say the least.
A fun ordeal. That's a good way to put it. Because there is a struggle involved with any type of growth that much. Like there's a lot of pain points and growing pains and learning lessons. And that's awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I know, I feel like after getting to spend time with you outside of work, like you're wired similar to me, where you're like always on, always accessible, always thinking, and like you said, like 7 days a week. What motivates you? What inspires you?
Success. And obviously part of it is my own personal success, but I don't employ myself anymore, so my success is dependent on how successful I can make my employer. So that's really what drives me, is the success aspect of what we do on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Making every day count.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's amazing, like just visiting your practice at both locations and just seeing like how many patients come through the door. It's wild. I mean, it's not like your normal, like here we have a medical clinic, like, oh, that's cute. Like there's hundreds and thousands of people that you're seeing. It's huge.
Yeah, it is amazing. It's almost mind-boggling when you think about the average monthly amount of patients that we see. So right now we're averaging about just shy of 7,000 patients a month. Wow. Which is incredible out of 2 different locations. But I think a lot of that is contributed to the different services that we're able to offer our patient population.
Yeah. And that's one thing that we've identified with handling your marketing for the past year and a half of the one location concept where you can go and get treated for everything, and you don't have to go to multiple locations and referrals and go through that whole song and dance, which I've unfortunately gone through. But yeah, I think that's such a strong selling point. And that's one thing I think makes MidAmerica just the great, like, we talk about customer experience, like there's the whole patient experience aspect of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, at the end of the day, no matter what the business is, Joel, whether you're a service provider, whether you're selling product, whether you're selling services such as yourself, it's about the experience at the end of the day, right? And I think that's really the most important thing is providing the consumer the experience that they expect.
Right.
And or going above and beyond their expectations.
Right. Yeah, or better than they expect. One thing that I've really been fascinated with your story is just like how you had this outside perspective, and you're an entrepreneur at heart. And I know this outside perspective has kind of served you and served MidAmerica well, but what else do you feel like you've taken from your previous jobs of running companies and working in home improvement, working in auto? Like, what have you taken from those experiences and applied to MidAm to make it successful?
Yeah, I think that the biggest learning experience that I had from, let's say, a marketing standpoint, because that's primarily what my role is to market the practice, is that it takes time.
Right.
Time is on our side if we're just allowing the process to work out.
Right.
And I think that there's this misconception of people diving into new different forms of marketing, whether that be social media, whether that be video content, whether that be commercials, anything of that sort, and just there's this expectation of immediate gratification, where I think oftentimes it's a false fallacy, right? You have to give the process time to play out. Really, unless you're selling product, I don't think that there's any other service industry that can expect immediate gratification out of any marketing effort that they put in. Right. It's easy with a call to action type of campaign. If I'm selling a product and I'm offering 20, 30% off of something, I'm going to get some action. I'm going to get some traction. I'm going to get some sales. However, when you're in an industry where you don't need the services until you actually need them, how do you quantify those efforts? How do you quantify spending thousands of dollars on a monthly basis without reaping those rewards until 6, 7, 8 months, maybe even a year after?
Right.
So that's probably the one thing I've taken out of my whole career is that just letting the process play out. And if you just are consistent, and you educate the general public about the services that you offer, that the rewards come later, and they come really twice and 3 times and 4 times over.
Right, exactly. I think that's such a key lesson for any business, is just consistency and patience. Also, I just gave a talk on Friday to a bunch of students running startups at IIT, and I tell them, I was like, my philosophy is I'm always playing the long game. I'm not in it for this month or the next month or 30 days, 90 days. Obviously, you have to operate and do things to get there, but long game always, and patience wins at the end.
It really does. I agree with you 100%. It really and truly does.
So that's that. I feel like, just meeting you, just our philosophies are definitely aligned. And from somebody that runs a marketing and digital marketing and branding agencies, I love that perspective of just, that's a real perspective versus like, hey, why isn't this working? I've been on advertising for 2 weeks. Where's my lines around the block? And, especially with social, there is that fallacy of like, oh, I'm going to go viral if I put this ad out there, and it doesn't work that way. You have to play the game. You have to follow the playbook over an extended period of time and be patient. And then that's when it works. And to your point, that's when it goes 2x, 3x, 7x, 10x returns when you are playing that longer game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I see it far too often where people don't put their marketing budgets in place and really identify that, hey, you know what, this might cost me $30, $40, $50, $60,000 before I start reaping the return on investment.
Right.
But here, listen, if there's one message I can say is this: if you can't commit a certain dollar amount on a
Mhm.
monthly basis towards your marketing efforts and stay consistent and just know that it will play out at the end, then don't open the business.
Right.
I mean, that's as simple as I can say it. It takes money to make money.
Yeah.
Whether you make that money in 6 months, whether it's in 3 months, whether it's in a year, just understand that the process at the end of the day, it will play out. But I think a lot of that has to do with making sure that you're partnered up with the right with the right partnerships.
Right.
And I'd be the first one to tell you, I went through 2 different partnerships before I met Fortress. And Fortress has been working out very, very well. Again, we've been together now for upwards of almost a couple of years. Yeah. I'm a firm believer in metrics. Right. So the numbers will never lie. Mm-hmm. And you guys have done such an incredible job. But I think part of that is that you guys have taken the time to understand our business. Right. And allowing you guys that time to understand our business. Right. I can't expect to join a partnership with, say, someone like a Fortress Consulting that knows nothing about our industry and be successful. Right. You guys had taken that initiative. You guys have accepted our invites to our practice to get to know the service lines that we offer, how we differentiate ourselves from the other competition in the area. And you guys have helped me certainly capitalize on that. And here we are 2 years later, where over the last couple of years, we've had 600% growth in our social media presence. Yeah. In addition to our Google SEO and SEM metrics. So, I mean, it's been an incredible ride.
Yeah. Yeah, no. And you're right. It's all about the data. And I appreciate you kind of understanding that and also championing that internally, because you're dealing with a bunch of doctors that don't necessarily understand marketing or understand social. So I know the position you're in, where you kind of constantly have to explain what you're doing and be patient and just wait. But I like what Laura mentioned on our earlier shoot was you upped the ad budget 60% and you got a 200% return on it as far as traffic. And that's huge. And so that, kudos to you for the trust and willing to take a risk.
Yeah. You could do one of two things during the midst of a pandemic, right? You can be fearful, sit back, hit the emergency brake, right? Or you can capitalize. And that's exactly what we did. I mean, we know that just because there's a pandemic, that we know that people aren't going to stop getting injured. Right. Right. People still sustain injuries. Still, people need your services. And letting them know that you're providing a safe environment where they're able to receive definitive care cost effectively has panned out. And, even though I don't think that there's any business in 2020 that didn't suffer. However, I have reason to believe that we didn't suffer as much as most. Right. And really right now is where we're reaping those rewards of putting the pedal to the metal, increasing our ad budget during the midst of the pandemic, because we're having record-breaking months right now. And I think all of that's contributed to those efforts in 2020.
Yeah. So that's a perfect segue into my next question is just, I'm fascinated to learn how businesses have adapted and pivoted during the pandemic and how processes changed, people changed, whatever that looks like. But what's something that you learned about yourself or the MidAm team during the pandemic? What's a big key lesson or takeaway?
Not to be afraid, not to be afraid of taking chances.
That's right.
I think the media did a fantastic job of scaring the general public. Yeah. And I think that trickled down, obviously, down to the business. But just knowing not to be afraid, just to know the services that you're providing are meaningful, and that people will need your services no matter what. And to not let this pandemic, bottleneck your business. And just to persevere and go through the process and capitalize, identifying the opportunities. One thing that I identified early on in the pandemic is that a lot of our competition stopped everything that they're doing from a marketing standpoint. Right. And they did it out of fear. And where we identified, that there is in fact a fear factor. We're in the midst of a pandemic, but we capitalized on that.
Right.
And we knew going in that, yeah, fine, we're going to invest more money. We may not get this immediate gratification now, but as everyone drops off the marketing scene, we're still at top of mind. We're still letting the general public know that we're providing services. And again, in our industry, people only need you when they need you. Yeah. So I think those efforts that we took in 2020 and increasing our marketing budget has done nothing more than brand ourselves, because now here we are 2021 having record-breaking months. Yeah. And this isn't just that, MidAmerica Orthopaedics is that much more special than anybody else. I think that orthopedic surgeons are equally phenomenal in their expertise, no matter where they come from. It's just letting these people know that, hey, we're here. We're providing a safe environment to get care. We're not going to stop giving you care, no matter what. And right now we're reaping those rewards.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And that's where I know we're so similar and in tune, because that's exactly my mindset with the pandemic too. Is I saw it as a major opportunity for us, where we could either pump the brakes and cry poor me and the economy's going down the tube and people are scared, or we can double down on our advertising and marketing and hire and get aggressive with it. And we grew a ton last year, and we're growing even more this year. And there's a quote from Warren Buffett that I love that I think speaks exactly to this. And I actually just did a video on this, and it says that when people are greedy, be fearful, and when people are fearful, be greedy. And so I think we're both wired the same way of there's this huge fear factor last year with COVID of just but for us, and for myself, thinking opportunistically is how do we grow and how do we double down on what we're doing? So that's awesome. I mean, as far as what you learned during the pandemic, I feel like we're going to be light years ahead of our competition when we come out of it. So where do you see what's next for you in MidAmerica Orthopaedics? Where are you taking it?
Just to continue the good service that we provide our patients. It's not just providing phenomenal outcomes for their injuries, but just to be able to provide the above expected service that our patients require or expect. Again, we're multi-specialty orthopedics. So really the only thing that we can do right now is one of two things, right? We have the facilities to facilitate more patient flow. So right now it's just a matter of, okay, if it's total joints right now that we want to expand on, do we hire another total joint physician? Do we hire another sports medicine physician? Do we hire another hand and upper extremity physician? So it's just building on that, because the more people that you have to take care of the patients, your business will grow. So we don't anticipate expanding our locations. We're pretty satisfied with the locations that we have.
Yeah.
But our focus right now is patient acquisition. Do we have the facilities right now to grow? Yes, we're not maximized. We can see probably 50% more patients than we're seeing now. So that's the focus right now. And that's really the direction that we're going is, okay, what's the next level? The next level is increasing our new patient acquisition 50% from where we're at right now.
Wow. Yeah. And I know, that makes sense because you guys just came off this monster expansion with your location. But and I'm similar of just rather than hire more and more and more, and how can we get more out of everybody we have now and increase that?
Yeah.
All right. So to close, I like to do these rapid fire questions of just pick this or that. And what do you think?
Okay.
And some of these are anecdotal, but if you could only play one golf course for the rest of your life, which would it be?
For the rest of my life, St. Andrews.
Ooh. Have you played there?
I have never played there.
Oh yeah. So that's a bucket list.
That would be if I had to choose right now today, that would be the place.
Wow. Amazing. That's a good choice. And I know, so tying into golf, last time we went golfing, you were playing music and we had a good time and the beers were going. So I know you're into music. If you could only listen to one album for the rest of your life, which one would it be?
Oh boy.
I'll make it easier for your album or artist.
This is going to be totally off the wall, man. But I would have to say that it's me. Dave Matthews Band.
Ooh, good one. That's a good one. I know we were jamming to classic rock. I didn't expect Dave Matthews to come in there.
Yeah, if that's the one artist I had to listen to for the rest of my life, it'd be Dave Matthews Band.
Wow,
Yeah.
good one. That's awesome. Have you seen him live?
I have.
Fantastic, right?
Yeah, very entertaining.
Yeah. Last question. 100 years from now, what do you want people to remember about David Adam?
The one thing I'd probably want them to remember by David Adam is thinking outside the box. You know, just not so much looking at things internally from a business aspect, but more from our patient aspect.
Mm.
And how can we better that experience that the patient has when they walk through the doors, whether it's our business or any business.
Right.
And that's where my mindset is. You know what I mean? So if there's, to answer your question, it would be thinking outside the box, and thinking outside of what normal business would think internally.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. And I feel like that's probably what has been part of your DNA and your successful track record, is that outside the box thinking that you're applying to what you're doing now, and probably applying to multiple facets of your life. So that's awesome. So if people want to get a hold of you or MidAmerica, where do they go?
Yeah, they can visit us at MidAmericaOrtho.com. They can call our facility at 708-237-7200 to book an appointment or a consult. And they can get a hold of me directly by dialing 708-237-7206, or they can email me at davidadam@MidAmericaOrtho.com.
Awesome. David, thank you so much. It was great to hear your story, and I'm excited to put this all together. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Joel, for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
Got it.